Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a high-stakes reality that I know keeps a lot of us up at night: industrial scale-up and technology transfer. Look, when you're tasked with moving a multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical process from a cozy development lab to a massive commercial manufacturing site, the margin for error isn't just small, it's practically razor-thin. So today, we're zeroing in on Module 2 of our source material. We're going to focus entirely on how knowledge management and quality by design, or QbD as we all know it, serve as the absolute bedrock for a successful transfer. Okay, let's dive right in with a scenario you might actually be a little too familiar with. Picture this. You've got a misguided project manager who genuinely believes they can just complete the transfer by hitting send on an email stuffed with PDF documents. They fire it off to the receiving site and dust off their hands. But is that actually enough to transfer a complex manufacturing process? Well, the short answer is absolutely not. No way. According to international standards like the WHO guidelines and ICH Q10, documents alone are literally just the carrier. They're a vehicle. The receiving unit has to genuinely acquire the understanding to reproduce and control that process. If you just send paper, honestly, you're setting yourself up for failure. So to unpack how to actually do this right, here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the payload is knowledge. 2, the QbD golden thread. 3, the development data package. And 4, managing risk and gaps. Let's get into it. Section 1. The payload is knowledge, understanding the difference between paper and process. You see, the central tension of literally any tech transfer really comes down to two specific forms of knowledge: explicit and tacit. Explicit knowledge is everything that's already codified. We're talking about your protocols, your reports, your batch records. It is incredibly easy to email, and while it's totally necessary, it is not sufficient on its own. Tacit knowledge, on the flip side, is the experience. It's the judgment. It's that subtle feel an operator gets after running the exact same process 50 times in a row. It lives entirely inside people's heads. Now, this is notoriously hard to send in an email, right? But it is very often the exact difference between a flawless commercial batch and a hugely expensive failure. Most transfers fail precisely because this invisible tacit knowledge just gets left behind. To capture it, you have to document the rationale, the why, not just the what. You need joint working, you need people on site, and you absolutely need person-to-person training. Moving on to Section 2. The QbD golden thread, structuring product and process knowledge. So the big question is, how do we systematically capture all that tricky tacit knowledge? Well, we use this connected, highly defensible chain where every single step is fully justified by the one right before it. It all starts with the Quality Target Product Profile, or QTPP, which essentially defines the safety and efficacy target for the patient. From there, we pinpoint our critical quality attributes. Then we figure out our critical process parameters. That leads us straight into defining our design space. And finally, the whole shebang culminates in a comprehensive control strategy. The key takeaway here: quality is built in by design from step 1, not just randomly tested for at the very end. Let's zoom in a bit closer on that second step. To put it simply, critical quality attributes, or CQAs, are your non-negotiable outputs. These are the things we absolutely must protect. They are derived directly from the QTPP and some really rigorous risk assessments. We're talking about properties like dissolution rate, assay, or impurity levels. They absolutely must stay within appropriate limits, because at the end of the day, that's how we ensure the patient gets a safe and effective product. Now, if CQAs are the outputs we're trying to protect, then critical process parameters, the CPPs, are the literal process levers that we pull to ensure those outputs stay within their limits. Think about things like drying temperature, blending time, or compression force. If variability in one of these inputs changes a CQA, guess what? It's a critical parameter, and it must be strictly monitored and controlled. Let's look at the real heart of process understanding using a fictional case study from our source material for a drug called Veltrixil. Notice how specific quality attributes are explicitly mapped right to their corresponding process parameters. It's like a giant puzzle. If you want to protect the CQA of dissolution, well, you have to control the CPPs of compression force and granule size. Want to ensure content uniformity? Then you're pulling the levers of blending time and blend flow. This direct mapping is the exact, specific knowledge the receiving site desperately needs to succeed. And the culmination of this entire golden thread, that would be the control strategy. Now, there is a super common misconception out there that the control strategy is just the finished product release specification. Actually, scratch that. It is absolutely not just a release spec. It is a strategically planned, layered net of safety that spans the entire process. It includes material controls, like the API particle size you get from your suppliers. It includes process controls, keeping those CPPs within their justified ranges. It includes in-process checks, and yes, the final finished product specification too. This fully comprehensive strategy is what actually transfers, and it's what gets validated. Section 3. The Development Data Package, the vehicle for knowledge transfer. Now that the underlying theory and the golden thread are in place, what does the sending unit actually pack up and deliver? This is where we see exactly why the data package has to contain the rationale, the why, and not just the final what. Traditional development usually relies on fixed set points and just testing everything at the very end. It's narrow, it's empirical, and honestly, it's incredibly hard to transfer because the receiving site has zero clue why the set points are what they are. Quality by design, however, focuses on deeply understood relationships and justified ranges. Because you understand the process from the ground up, it transfers exceptionally well. It literally gives the receiving site operational flexibility backed by hard scientific justification. So a robust data package carries way more than just the final specs. It obviously has to include the entire QbD thread, your design of experiments reports, your analytical methods, materials, and stability data. But honestly, just as importantly, it needs the messy manufacturing history. Transferring the history of deviations, the real-world yields, and the weird quirks of analytical methods from your failed batches is absolutely vital to capturing that tacit understanding we talked about. If you only send the shiny, polished final specifications without that messy history of how you arrived there, you are leaving absolutely critical knowledge behind. All right, Section 4, Managing Risk and Gaps. What to do when development knowledge is thin. Let's just address reality for a second. Development knowledge is rarely perfect. Sometimes you inherit a legacy product, or you get handed a process where the data is frankly alarmingly thin. Without QbD understanding, you're essentially throwing darts while blindfolded. You're guessing set points and risking incredibly costly commercial trial failures, which, by the way, you'll awkwardly have to explain to regulators later. But with QbD understanding, you know exactly which parameters are scale sensitive, things like mixing, drying, or heat transfer. You can predict effects, you can adjust with clear justification, and you can drive confidently toward a right first time scale up. When you inevitably run into knowledge gaps, and you will, you don't just forge ahead unchanged and hope for the best. You lean heavily on the ICHQ-9 standard for quality risk management. You systematically risk assess and prioritize those critical unknowns. You have to match your effort to the actual significance of the risk. Formality follows significance, right? You might decide to run targeted studies to fill specific gaps, or maybe add tighter in-process monitoring. And super importantly, you explicitly document whatever residual uncertainty you are ultimately accepting. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to remember this single, vital truth about the knowledge payload. Documents carry understanding. They are not a substitute for it. Let that sink in. Whether you're dealing with critical quality attributes, mapping out those process parameters, or managing stressful legacy knowledge gaps, your ultimate goal is always to transfer the deep, scientific why right alongside the operational what. So I'm going to leave you with this question to challenge how you approach your very next technology transfer. Think about it. When you transfer your next process, will you just move paper, or will you move true understanding? Make sure you're building that QbD golden thread. Thanks so much for diving into the science of technology transfer with me today. See you next time.